Port Everglades is one of the busiest cruise ports in the world. It's located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and a favorite among many cruisers, including myself. Stay tuned for my tips and tour of this major cruise port. Today on See More Seas. Port Everglades is one of my favorite cruise ports, and it's one that we used quite often. Now, we have driven to the port, we've parked there, we've taken an Uber, and I've been in and out of most of the major cruise terminals. We've also entered the port through all of the major security checkpoints. Today on this video, I'm going to give you a full tour of Port Everglades so that you can be fully prepared. Hello everyone and welcome. If you are new here, I am Doug and this is See More Seas, your cruise tips and planning channel where I hope to help you and your family pick, plan, and enjoy your next cruise vacation. When you are ready to book your next cruise, remember to email me here at the email address shown on the screen, or you can find my contact information in the video description, and I'd be honored to help you plan and book your next adventure. If you're a cruise enthusiast, I do ask you to consider subscribing to the channel for additional cruise content just like this. Okay, let's get started. Port Everglades is one of the busiest cruise ports in the world and located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It is located just east of the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. It is the home port of many different cruise lines, including Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises, Silver Sea, Princess Cruises, Holland America Line, and Disney. It is also good to note that other cruise lines do utilize Port Everglades from time to time. Let's begin now by taking an overall look at the Port Everglades map. You can see that it is just east of the Fort Lauderdale International Airport, and you can see that it is a private port and it is closed off. It is closed off due to the fact that there are many commercial ships that come in there, tankers, and it is a very large fuel depot. This means that there are security checkpoints for entering the cruise port as a cruise passenger. You will see that these two security checkpoints are the major access points for the cruise terminals. One is located near the airport and the other is on the northern side of the port for more of the northern terminals. The terminals here at the port will be terminals for Royal Caribbean, who's going to utilize more of the Terminal 18 for their larger Oasis class ships. And then it will also utilize Terminal 19 as well for other ships that are in port. It also can utilize one of the Celebrity slots, which would be Terminal 29. Celebrity does maintain its Edge class ships at Terminal 25, which is a fairly new terminal built specifically for the newer Edge class ships. Celebrity also utilizes Terminal 29 as well as Terminal 19 from time to time. Our last cruise, we actually left out of Terminal 25 and returned at Terminal 19. Holland America Line utilizes Terminal 26 as its standard embarkation terminal. However, it will also utilize Terminal 19 when more than one ship is in port, and it also will from time to time utilize Terminal 21. It is important to note that Terminal 21 is also where the Bimini Freeport Fast Ferry will also berth for its day trips to the Bahamas. Princess Cruise Lines is going to be located at the northern end of the port for that other security entrance, and that will be in Terminal 2. Disney is somewhat of a new entry for Port Everglades, and it has taken over what used to be Carnival's slot there, and it has redesigned Terminal 4 for Disney embarkations. There's lots of different parking available at the port. Two main parking garages, one near the terminals for Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, as well as Holland America. And then on the northern side, there is a parking garage for the Princess Terminal and the Disney Terminal. The outside lots are numerous, but they are uncovered, and it is a little bit of a walk to the terminals. You'll see that on the southern side of the port, there are several that assist with the Royal Caribbean large Oasis class ships for Terminal 18, as well as rollover for Terminal 19, as well as for Celebrity and Holland America going out of Terminal 25 and 26. I recommend for everyone going to Port Everglades, if you are driving and planning on parking, I like to do remote parking, and my recommendation is to utilize Park and Go, which you can see here is very, very close to the cruise terminal, and those security checkpoints can get very, very crowded with cars, and sometimes it's up to a 30-minute wait in line to get through those security checkpoints. When you park remotely with Park and Go, they have a fast pass lane that they can bypass all of those cars and get you to your terminal very quickly. Another way to access the port is through Brightline, South Florida's high-speed commuter train service. And this actually can be accessed all the way from Orlando, and you just get off downtown Fort Lauderdale, take a cab or an Uber to the cruise terminal. If you are flying into South Florida to connect with your cruise out of Port Everglades, I highly recommend, strongly recommend, that you fly into Fort Lauderdale International Airport. This airport is very close to the port, and it is accessible via a lot of different methods. There are cruise transfers available from the cruise lines. Most of these, however, are tied to the airfare that you purchase directly with the cruise line. So make sure that you are checking with your cruise line for availability and costs associated with those transfers. There are also lots of different options with cabs and Ubers, and it's only about a 15-minute drive to the port, and the average cost is around $19 or $20. If your only option is to find a direct flight into Miami, then absolutely take advantage of that. Just know that the Miami airport is much further away. It is about an hour away, and you'll want to make sure that you budget for the more expensive transfer as well as any type of cab or Uber. One thing I will caution you about is that I never recommend that you fly in for your cruise the day of the cruise. There are so many things that can go wrong with air travel with respect to delays. If you're connecting, there's lots of things that can go wrong. So I normally plan to go into a cruise port area at least one day before. So on cruise day, I want to make sure that your embarkation goes very, very smoothly. And here are a few tips and planning hacks that you should implement to make sure that your embarkation is very smooth. The first is make sure that you do your online check-in on your online account for the cruise line as soon as it opens. Make sure that all the required information is there and that you get the earliest possible embarkation appointment at the cruise terminal. These are first come, first serve, and as soon as that check-in opens, I recommend that you complete the check-in process fully. I will note that most of the cruise lines at Port Everglades do not strictly enforce these arrival embarkation appointments. I will say that from Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, as well as Holland America line, they were not strictly enforced. But make sure that you do understand that if you arrive very, very early with respect to the embarkation appointment, they may ask you to wait outside until that appointment time. As it relates to required documents that you're going to need for embarkation, make sure that you have a printed boarding pass from that online check-in, as well as the phone app that has been downloaded onto your phone with either the barcode or the QR code that the cruise line provided you to make sure that you can scan that at the terminal. You'll also want to make sure that you have your passports with you, or if you are doing a U.S. closed loop cruise using a government issued birth certificate and an ID, government issued real ID, make sure that you have those in your carry-on luggage and do not drop them with the porters for luggage check-in. All those checked baggage will be dropped at the porters when you get dropped off at the port by your cab or Uber, or when you walk up to the terminal if you're parking in one of the parking garages or the outside parking lots. You will clearly see the baggage drop-off area. Make sure that you have your luggage tags printed in color and attached to your luggage. This allows for the cruise line crew employees to be able to sort your bags very, very quickly by color and by floor and deliver them to your stateroom later in the afternoon. For carry-on luggage, make sure that you do have all of that cruise documentation in that carry-on bag, as well as any medications, any expensive jewelry, any expensive items, as well as I normally put all of my electronics in my carry-on items as well. You may want to pack a swimsuit or a cover-up due to the fact that if you want to use the pool on the afternoon of day one, your main luggage that you checked with the porter might not be delivered until like 3, 4, even close to 5 o'clock prior to dinner. I will also note that if your cruise line allows you to bring on 2 bottles of wine or 2 bottles of champagne, such as Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Holland America, you will want to put this in your carry-on luggage and not in your checked luggage. So make sure that those are in your carry-on bags. And once you get on board, you should be able to go directly to your stateroom, drop off this carry-on luggage, pick up your key cards that are going to be located outside of your stateroom so that you can now start to begin your cruise vacation. You are now on the ship and you are ready to start your vacation. So go grab yourself some lunch and a cocktail and start enjoying yourself. If you did enjoy this video, I do ask you to give that video a big old thumbs up, and I also ask you to consider subscribing to the channel if you have not done so already. Thanks so much, everybody. And when you are ready to book your next cruise out of Port Everglades or any port, I do ask you to consider emailing me here at the email address shown on the screen so I can help you plan and book your next cruise vacation. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and you might want to be interested in watching one of these videos next. Thanks again, and as always, I'll see you again soon.